Been working a lot on my drip system, getting it ready to go. I have my drip system secrets that I want to share. Now, disclosure here, I didn't invent these. I might have altered a little, but there are some great secrets here that I'm going to be showing today. I'm showing the whole thing from the perimeter layout that I use for keeping this pressure balanced, the connecting of the drip lines, and also I'm doing some spray lines as well, and setting up different zones and timers and so forth. If you haven't done drip systems and you're thinking about them, this may give you some ideas that can help you avoid putting together something you're not happy with. Keep listening here and learn my drip system secrets. I apologize for any wind you may be hearing. I'm outside. It's going to happen. There's going to be wind. What I want to show you right now are a few of the techniques that I'm using for our watering system, our drip irrigation system. I'm doing some normal stuff, and I'm also doing some techniques that I've learned in various places, and I find they work really well. So I want to be sure I share those clearly with you so you can understand. I'm using a few tools today. This is something I picked up, kind of a cool tool. I'll show you a few different ways that we use it. And then this is another version of part of it, more low-tech. First thing I want to show you is how I'm using these tools for building the main lines that are running around the perimeter, and I'm going to show you more detail about that, but to give you a little bit of idea of what I'm doing is to keep the pressure as consistent as possible for all of the drip lines that run down the beds, each of the rows. I put a perimeter. I'm using 1/2 inch. You can use larger pipe, flexible pipe that goes all the way around, and that way when I apply the water to it, the pressure that's there, it equalizes from both ends, so the drip lines that are connected at both ends are getting input from both ends instead of from just one end, so that the place that may have the least amount of pressure is in the middle instead of at the far end. But it tends to equalize it, and I get a really even distribution. Now, theoretically, the drip tape and the emitters are supposed to compensate and so on and so forth. I found that didn't always work as nicely as I wanted. So I'm going to show you how we run the perimeter all the way around, how that looks, so you can definitely understand what I'm talking about. But I want to show you some of the pieces along the way that need to be done to make things right. For those of you who have put in irrigation systems, actually done any type of fabrication work, quite often the way you start and the way you end up are a little bit different, because no matter how well you plan, you discover there's things that don't quite work the way you anticipated, or you change. In this case, we did a little bit of change. I thought I was going to have the spray on this particular bed. This is our bed number 1, where we're not putting a cover over it because the crops we're growing don't really work with covers. It's potatoes and carrots, so we're going to put a hoop over it. But as far as a ground cover, no, it's problematic to do that. But I thought I was going to put sprayers like every 10 feet. And I thought that the drip line should run down the middle. Well, I got those in. I have to put in twice as many, and then I realized the drip line when I'm doing the carrots is in the way. So it doesn't really need to be down the middle. There's nothing to be gained by doing that, and in fact it's a bit in the way, so it's a negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change one of the tubes and have it be wider, so that the lines, the feed line and also the other side of the loop are on both sides of the bed instead of one going right down the middle. So I'm going to show you how I put the tubing together with the system that I'm using so you can understand how that works, and that'll help you understand that part of it. To start, I want you to notice that this line here kind of curves back in. It is kind of short right here. I've got more bed going over this direction. So I'm going to be adding to this piece right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart and replace this piece right here. So I'm going to take it apart at both ends. It's just a simple matter of unscrewing this, which is tightened down on the tube that's there. A little bit of pressure to get it off. A lot of pressure to get it off. They're not intended to come off. They're intended to stay on. And they do a good job of it, as you can see. Now that it's apart, I'm going to put the tube out where I want it to be. It's not going to go much further than that. And I can see what length I need to make the tube. So it's about like that, as you can see. Getting shadows and everything on there. So I open this up, set this in, get it nice and perpendicular. Make the cut. Off it comes. Next step, pop it on there far enough. It's got a good grip. Twist this down. Put the other end over here. Same thing. Get it on good and tight. And twist it down tight. Okay, so there you have it. That's how that end of that pipe goes on. Now I want to show you something. So what I want to show is this. I have this for just one bed. In the case of the other beds, I'm actually having that be one zone. All 5 of the other beds are just one zone, but for each zone this is what I'm doing. Now, I may take the other 5 beds, I may find I need to subdivide that into 2 or maybe even 3 zones. I can do it, I got the technology, but what I want to show you is this run here. As we go along, the 2 lines are running parallel with one another, the total length of the bed. And that's what I'm attempting to demonstrate here, that it runs the whole length. Now at this end, we also need to make it wider, and so I'm going to do that. It's pretty much the same operation, except I only have to take, well, only have to do anything. I have to take the whole thing off. You can see that the water is draining out. We're downhill, and so water stays in the tubes. I'm going to measure this length. I think I'm about right there, and cut this one the same as we did the other. Keep it parallel. Nice cut. Set that out of the way. And force that on there as far as I can. Tighten it down. And tighten that one down. this in here because the pipe tends to stretch, so this is what I do to keep it happy. Anyway, that's the zone. That's how I do the ends. Let's pull some grass. And that is why I have a complete system here, so that the pressure is equaled all the way around. I have one more drip tape to run, and I'm going to show you how that's done. I actually have the other end fastened down, so I'm going to start there and run it this direction, but I'm going to show you on this end how it's fastened on, how it will be fastened on. What you see right here is a connector that it has a barbed end on this end, and I put a hole in the 1/2-inch tube here, punch it in, and it's got the twist lock for the connecting. So I'm going to go to the other end, fasten the drip tape on there, and pull it up here. So now I see about where I want it to be, so I'm going to cut it right there and fasten it down, and this job will be ready for planting. Voila, it's fastened on. Now I can think about planting here.